So, episode 2 of season 2, and I'm delighted to say today I'm with Dave Angel. Dave, how are you, mate?
I'm really good. I'm actually in the best place I think I've ever been.
Yeah, good.
Which is good. Makes a long change, but yeah, no, I think life always throws hurdles at us, but I think I'm the best equipped I've ever been to handle them.
To me, you've always been high energy, happy, because when I first met you, was at that mindset maintenance down the village. Now, how long ago was that?
So nearly a year, next month I think.
Because that was when, it's funny because I was talking about it the other day when I'd done some stuff with Bianca for the live event next month. And I said about that was the first mindset maintenance event I did. And I was quite nervous, anxious, because I was going through my transition with like my mental health journey. And I was nervous to be sat in a room full of people with someone stood there speaking about stuff that may haunt me, which could be quite daunting for me in terms of made me scared about the transition I'm going through, if that makes sense. And George Hill turned around and he went, I've been to one with him before, come. He's one of the funniest blokes I've met. he will have you in stitches. And I kid you not, when I finished that one, when I come away from it, I was high on life. And I said it in the video, I said, it was the sort of fuel for me to just take off now and fucking go full throttle with my mental health journey. So, I'll first of all, I want to thank you for that, because that's
what I like.
That is a real compliment to you, because that's first-hand feedback for the person you are and what you give to someone that was struggling at that time.
It means well.
So
it really does.
I thank you for that. So yeah, you're high on life for it now then. So
stuff like that. That stuff, do you know, it's easier for you to not say that, and this is the problem I think we've got as men, right? Or especially as men. It's easier for you to not give me that compliment, but that compliment is actually what fuels my fire. So then we stifle our own fire. So that is the exact reason why I'm in the place I am. So then in turn, it's thanks to people like you telling me how I've impacted their life, which actually puts me in the right place, which then means I can then help someone else.
Yeah.
So actually you're to thank for me being in the right place.
Yeah, well, I'll give you a high five again.
See? And that's the circle of life that we all live in, right? And I think this is the problem. We spend so much of our time worried about the opinions of others. We don't give a validation that other people would like because we're not getting the validation. And I think when we start doing it for others, we get it back, and then helps us become the people we want to be, and that ends up giving us the mindset we really want, and then we find our place. Because you giving me that today, I feel good about it now, but you know what it does do? On the bad days, on the off days, it's easy to go back to that and you cash that chip in your mind. You went, no, I'm not doing this for me.
Yeah. Although you should do it for yourself as well.
I don't know. I'm all right. Do you know the thing I've got with this? And I get what you mean. I realised a long time ago, I think I probably said about it as a mindset maintenance. If me and you are out at sea, and there's two stories. Me on the out at sea, and the boat's sunk, and I've got to tread water, or me with you at sea having to tread water, I will do more because you're there to help you than I would to save myself.
Okay, yeah.
And so because I know that, making it bigger than me is actually better for me, but I'm all right with me. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Yeah. Okay, cool. So let's talk about, obviously I've known you from that first mindset maintenance event, and you've always been supportive of everything that I've sort of been doing the last 9-10 months, and thankful for your support. And so I want to get to know you a lot more in terms of, I want you to take me back to what was your life growing up. Talk to me all your childhood, education. What was you like as a kid?
My dad got PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, from working as a screw, and my dad was my hero, and that big thing happened. It messed him up. It happened in when I was 9, but we didn't know about it till I was 12. My dad's he's the Hulk. He was black belt second dan in judo. This guy was an absolute beast, my hero. And it wasn't until it hit him, PTSD, when I think I was 12. Before that point, we had the perfect family life. Best parents, dad was my idol, everyone was cool. At that point, everything changed. Dad didn't really leave the house, mum was worried about my dad, Everyone was all over the shop. And that was the point I changed. So then from 12 to 15 went a bit wayward. Parents just gave me a lot more freedom. I become a local youth hanging around by the library being a little shit. Then I got to the stage by the time I was 15. There was a big group of us at school and they wouldn't expel everyone because there was about 35 of just little shits. So they put us on a work experience and they went, like everyone was allowed, like there was like 3 of you were allowed in each day for whatever a week. I was only allowed on a Friday and they just said, what do you want to do? And at the time being a chef was cool. I went, I'll be a chef. And so then I moved out at 15, got a flat, had a full-time job, went to school on a Friday and rode around on, let's say, a motorbike I shouldn't be riding at 15 years old. So again, you're not at that stage equipped with the stuff. You're not being handed down by the generations before those life lessons. So you're learning your life lessons as a 15-year-old with a flat and a motorbike and a full-time job, and it just spirals from there.
So it was pretty. Would you sort of say then, like at 15, like the tools that you had within yourself in terms of like riding around on a motorbike, like having your own place, having a full-time job, that you sort of become, I'm going to say mature, but obviously. So would you say that you had to grow up? No, I was in
mature situations. I definitely wasn't mature. So I was in the situations of living a life that from the outside, you look like an adult, but you're not.
Yeah.
Not remotely. I'm just still a 15-year-old who's got more money than my mates, a flat, which my mates haven't got, and a motorbike. Like, I'm doing a job, and I was good at my job. Like, I kicked ass. Like, really, really, really got into the chefing side, which I'd never studied before, never enjoyed studying. And that was, like, my thing. So I became good at that, became great at it, and I could keep up with the adults, yes. But in the grand scheme of running a life outside of a job, I'm a kid with a flat at 15, smoking weed, drinking, having parties every night, with no guidance. And this is the problem, right? Yeah. We're going to pick up life lessons and our habits from somewhere. And if you don't choose where you pick up your lessons, you pick up what's left over in the trash, right?
Yep. Yeah.
It's like all the habits get put on the desk now. If you don't have a goal, an aspiration, a dream, a vision, or a plan, or you don't, your dad or your uncle, your brother goes, this is a lesson for you, keep that chip, this is one, don't have that one, take that one. Like if you're somebody who turns up to the table late, all you're doing is picking up the crap that's left over, the chips that no one wanted. Mm. And so then you don't have the right vision and idea behind the way you want to be, so you just have a blinkered view, so you just bumble along thinking what you're doing is right, because no one wakes up in the morning and wants to be a dick. But there's plenty of dicks that are out there, right? But they just weren't taught the lessons out there. So no, I definitely wasn't mature. I was just in a mature world. And catering's a weird world. A lot of people love to anyone who's a chef, but they're all mental. Like, mental.
So obviously, like you say, at 15, like the stuff that you had going on, so did you get qualifications in terms of education, or was it just that full-time job and then you just run with it?
GCSEs, I had a C, I think they gave me that a sympathy, and then I had like a D, an E, 2 Fs, 2 Gs, I think 2 Us. Never really tried. I didn't even go. I remember when the GCSEs were on, there was the hotel I worked at. It was a really good hotel, and they had an event on, and I went to do the function instead of doing my GCSEs. Because the chef said he'd give me 20 quid. Mm. So I was like, yeah, sweet, I'll do that instead. So I didn't value it. I still think the education system is screwed. I still believe, I remember, I don't know if you had this at school. At school, I remember getting told we had to write a letter to the Queen. I talk about this all the time. I think it's the most stupid thing. Literally, you've got to sit down with pen and paper and write a letter to the Queen. I've got no frame of reference of why I'm writing to the Queen. So I don't know who the Queen, I know who the Queen is, she's not my mate. I've got no context in what to write to her. But we were told to write to, there was no value in that for me in my life. Mm. If someone had said write a letter to a hedge fund on getting a 50 grand investment to set up an investment, great. Yeah. That would have made more sense.
Yeah.
Right? Write a letter to Wayne Lineker on how you're going to get a job at Ove Beach, right? That'd make sense. Because it was something maybe you'd want to do.
Yeah.
Write a letter to the Queen with no context, and I think the education system is very filled with that.
I think I think the thing that I struggle with, and looking back to when I was at school, which weren't many years ago, so the one thing I always think they should do is they should give you the life lessons in terms of like taxes, like money.
But they don't want you to have that.
And then the other thing that I didn't quite agree with was that you spend like years 7, 8, 9, 10, you spend 4 years, and then you got a whole of year 11, and then you sit down for 2 weeks doing your exams, and it all comes down to them couple of weeks. I think, like, and if you're someone that with the pressure of exams, you may crumble.
Yeah.
And your performance is based on that when it necessarily isn't, because you know what you're capable of, and that school that you're in knows what you're capable of as a person. So I think that's something else that I find difficult with schools as well.
I think we're at a stage now where the school system was created for workers in a factory. Think about the way the structures run out. If we forget it's called school and we call it prison, right? Your routine wouldn't change that much. You sit in a certain room at a certain time, at the same time, every day. You do a certain thing. You have lunch at a certain place, in the same place. You sit next to the same people. You're told when you can do this and you're told when you can do that. So if we change the word with prison and school, there's not a big difference between, because what's it actually designed to do? It's designed to keep us in order.
Yeah.
It's designed to give us the ability to be a worker in the factory. It's not designed for you to be independent. It's designed to make sure you clock in at the right time, so you're effective with your time. You can do basic numeracy. So that if there's something in the factory you need to do, you've got basic communication, they're not teaching you to become advanced in anything. They're not asking you to be creative. They want you to not have an opinion, want you to take a narrative. And that's the problem. I've said this, and any of my kids' teachers are watching this. I appreciate the effort you put into it, but I don't tell my kids to go and work the hardest you can at school. I want you to be nice, I want you to be polite, I want you to learn discipline. And I want you to find things in this world that you become disciplined and passionate about. But I'm not going to tell you need to understand nimbus clouds in geography. I don't see the relevance.
Yeah. Or what was the photosynthesis?
Yeah.
I don't think I've looked at a flower once since I've been outside and thought that's photosynthesis happened right there.
And I also think schools have a hard time. There's a lot of pressure from them. There's a lot of, you're being passed information that's passed down to you, and you've got to do this and you've got to do that and blah, blah, blah. And there are a lot of unruly kids, and it's all very hard. But the priority of the school is to manage the school. The priority of my kids is to turn them into being responsible adults that don't need me. And I think that's the problem. So then when you go through the school system, and this is what I had, was I come out the other side with no idea what I wanted. So then I just picked up the scraps that were left. Yeah. If something come in front of me, if a place came up, an opportunity to go here or go and party or be a bit mischievous or get attention, like all of that stuff was just what I did. And then that spirals 1%, 1%, 1%, and eventually you're a drunk drug addict that's making loads of money but completely and utterly decimating his life.
So let's sort of dive into that. So obviously school, obviously there's how it sort of went. When, and like you're saying, your life as a 15-year-old, I would say is probably a shadow of compared to what happened as you got older.
Yeah.
So at what age did you start, like, was it 18, 19 when you suddenly started going to that next level of actually making money?
Drugs or
and
money?
Making money? Well, yeah, talk me through it.
So I worked in catering, running restaurants for, I think I left when I was like 21, 22, and I literally just fell out of love with it. I loved it. I ended up setting a wine bar like years later because I genuinely loved it. But I left that career, and so I got done for drink driving. I crashed the car. I was literally just a bit over limit, lost it because I was on the alcohol license of a restaurant. I then could have and I lived above it. So then, because I lived above it, I then had nothing. I had no savings. I was suddenly sleeping on the streets in Brighton for the space of 3 days. And then, ironically, someone who I had helped out when I was younger then helped me out. And then I was like, what do I do? And someone just said, you should get into sales. And I went, all right. Because I had no other metric of where I was going to go. Yeah. And it was turn up. Yeah, sweet, come in. Yeah, it's fine. Repeat this pitch. And I just sucked at it. So that took me years to get good at that. It wasn't natural. It's still not natural now. I just have an unconsciously competent level of execution that I can rely on. But I'm not a natural one. Like I could be a good swimmer without being a natural swimmer.
So you went into sales.
Yeah.
So how long did it? So at first was it a bit like, did you hate it? Did you not like it, or was it because it was sort of like a last chip on the table?
I didn't get it. There were people going out and
because I know when people like when I get them calls from numbers and I'm answering and it's like, oh hello, this is so and so from there. I go, fuck off, put the phone down.
Saying sales is like saying sports. Like think about how many sports there are.
Yeah.
That's not forgetting about semi-professional, club level, professional, like all that stuff.
Yeah.
Just think about when we say sales in sports, think about how many hundreds of sports there are, maybe even thousands. I have no idea, all the different versions. So when we hear people pick up the phone calling you from some call centre in India based on this, they don't really care. It's a very big difference from that to someone who's selling a Ferrari or someone who's working in insurance. It's all very, very different. And for me, I fell into doing door-to-door, which is a baptism by fire. We got chased by dogs, we had kids throw stones at us, call us Jehovah's Witnesses. Like, we had the most nuts stuff happen. But do you know what it did teach me? Was resilience. I have a bounce back ability. I can go from bad day back to full power pretty quick.
Yeah.
And I think the big problem we have in the world now is as soon as something happens, we spend so much... No, we'll get back to stuff, but not at full power. We're doing it like 20% of us, and we're still moaning about it, and we're talking to our mum and our auntie and our wife, and how hard life is, and I've been dealt a bad hand. My bounce back ability is at the stage where I can lose a big deal today, and I'll go and sulk for 15 minutes, kick some stuff around, and then boom, I'm back to full power. That's what doing the early days of sales gave me, even though I sucked. And this is the thing, there was a guy out there in the States who talks about this, and he's like, you do stuff over and over and over and over again, and you fail, but you've got a little bit better. You do it again, over and over and over again, and you suck again, but you've got a little bit better.
Yeah.
I compare it to taking off in a plane. Say a plane's got to be at 150 mile an hour to take off, right? You can be going down the runway 130 mile an hour. You put your head out the window, it is feeling like you're going to take off, right? It's bouncing along, but you don't have the speed to take off. The majority of people will get up to 130 mile an hour and they feel like it, they go, no, it's not working. Imagine getting 10 metres of a runway and going, yeah, this plane won't take off. But that's what we end up doing in our lives, right? I was in a position because I had no family to rely on and all the other stuff, but you have no choice to get off your arse, get out of the house and crack on. And so that resilience and persistence over time developed the skills I needed to become prolific at what I do.
Yeah, and I think that's quite important as well, because there's people maybe now that's in a situation where they feel like there's no progress being made, they don't see any way up. So yeah,
but we're dumb.
Yeah.
Do you know? I sorry to interrupt you on that, but I genuinely think we all think we're really clever. Why can't we be dumb? Like I look at myself and I say I'm the dumbest today that I will ever be. And some guy like, oh my God, you talk so negatively about it. I mean, that's not negative. I didn't say I'm dumb now forever. I'm the dumbest today that I will ever be. As in, I'm going to keep getting smarter. Yeah. But instead of going, I'm smart today and I get smarter every day. No, I class myself as dumb today. I'm at my white belt. This is me at white belt level. Because I'm aiming to become a fucking black belt. Yeah. But everyone else wants to go, no, I'm a black belt, I'm a ninja. No, you're not. You're a white belt. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with having such high standards, but you want to progress. And the problem is now, as soon as someone gets a little bit good at something, they stop taking advice. Someone said to me the other day, oh my God, I saw one of my videos on TikTok. He went, oh, that pitch is just like X, Y, and Z. I went, yeah, he's great, isn't he? And we went, oh, so you admit you copied him? I literally learned from someone who's worth £500 million. There's a guy who's worth 500 million and he said something super smart. And do you know what I did? I used it.
Yeah.
Like, you see that as a bad thing.
Yeah. I think that's good. Is learning off. I think we should always be learning off other people.
Yes.
I think that is the most powerful source of information and learning is from other people. I think you learn more from other people than you do from Googling and looking.
Lessons and examples, right? Good lessons, shit examples. There's so much stuff you can see other people do. Like tell a joke and you go, oh my God, he sucks. I am never going to do that way. Doesn't mean that person can't become a good comedian.
Yeah.
It just means we learn from their examples who don't need their mistakes.
So, with the sales, and like you say, you become resilient at the start. You started to enjoy it, I'm assuming, from what come.
Yeah, you find a flow. I think you find a flow state with stuff when you get like, if you want to get to the level of mastery, you've got to go through a stage of being a fool first, right? I got past the full stage to an intermediate, and things were going well, but that was combined with excessive partying, drinking, drug taking, and everything else that would give me significance.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. So then, but both were working in tandem.
Yeah.
So I could function really well, high on drugs. That's mental. I could function really well after 7 beers. That's not helpful, right?
Yeah.
Because then you become, oh cool, let's go out for a few beers in the afternoon. Let's go back to the office, smash your phones. Go out on a 2-day bender and go back in and start chasing in deals.
Yeah.
That doesn't, you can't do that forever.
No.
And mentally, you think that you're on good form, but you're not. The building's crumbling around you. And as that crumbles, suddenly one brick will fall too many and the whole thing collapses. And that's what happens. That's what happened. My business, I missed so many things, done so many things wrong, missed so many different things I was unaware of, that the business suddenly was fucked. So suddenly the business is gone, the bar's gone, the wine bar, the boat's gone, the car's gone, the house is gone, the watches are gone, the money's gone, the Bitcoin's gone, everything's gone.
So talk to me about that. So when did you get to that point where you could have a lifestyle of freedom? Was it freedom, or was it just you had the money and you thought, you know, fuck it, I'm going to do what
So
I want?
I do not. So you know we spoke earlier about going back to getting the chips off the table.
Yeah.
I never believed. I said I was going to become a millionaire. I'd earn 100 grand a year and all that stuff. I never really believed that was going to happen. So as soon as I started making more than 5 grand a month, I'm like, Rolex, Ibiza, Range Rover, boat, bike. I bought a motorbike, brand new. I didn't even have a license. It was at the place for 3 months because they wouldn't let you collect it without your license. So I brought a bike for 8 grand and it was still at KTM for 3 months. The day I passed my test, I told him, oh, how long have you been riding? I went, I just passed an hour ago. He went, mate, it's got a race mode on it. I went, yeah, I know, it's been 3 months, I need to take it. I remember riding it home and I'm like, what am I doing? Every time I'd hit a speed bump, it'd wheelie. Because the thing was so powerful, but that's a prime example of what happened. So I had things I never really believed I was going to have. I hadn't planned, because I hadn't believed in it, I never really planned what I'm going to do when I get to that stage.
Yeah.
I lucked into Bitcoin, I lucked into crypto, I lucked into this. But it didn't last because when it all goes to shit, everything falls apart.
So talk to me about that. As you say, like, you haven't planned for when you got to them opportunities, that sort of lifestyle, that life of the financial gains and having the good money behind you. So, if I remember rightly from Mindset Mania's event, it was like a case of people would be out on Ibiza, you'd get a message to say, I'm out on Ibiza, and you'd go, fuck it, I'm on my way.
It's Thursday afternoon. I'd go out. One of the lads we'd done it before, we'd done it in Amsterdam, went out for a couple of beers in Southampton. I was like, we should just go to Amsterdam, why not? He went, I ain't got any money. I went, no, I'll pay, it's fine. Suddenly we're in Amsterdam. And then the next day we were going to come back. And then I was like, yeah, I booked flights for tomorrow. And I hadn't. So we just carried on partying for another day. And then we realised it was a bank holiday. And then, like, all this mad stuff. Or just go out on a Thursday night and you still be going on a Friday and you feel like crap all day.
Yeah.
And then you get to 4 o'clock in the afternoon and the sun's a little bit softer and you're like, I feel all right now. Yeah, and someone's like, oh, Ocean Beach looks good. You go, oh, yeah, all right, maybe we should do that. I've done it before in Portsmouth. I was going to go to Ibiza and I went out for a few drinks with some lads on a guy's birthday that worked for me. And I went, I'm going to come, but like, I'm going to book a hotel and I'm going to just go. I woke up, so there's 2 Holiday Inn Expresses in Portsmouth, one up by the petrol station and one in Gunwharf. I booked into the Gunwharf one. I woke up in the one up by the petrol station. I'd had about 2 hours sleep and I had 3 hours to get to Ibiza. I got a cab, I left my car at the hotel, I didn't think I'm not going to go.
Yeah.
I just picked up my passport, left my bags in the room, and just got in a cab, slept in a cab, went to Ibiza with just the clothes I was wearing from the night before. And at no point was I like, this doesn't make sense. Because when you're in that state, you justify all these actions. And it is here's how I think. It is a really funny story. Mm. It is a really funny story. But it's also completely and utterly ridiculous.
Yeah.
You're not in a good place when you're doing that. And that's the hard part, is because you've got both sides. One is it's a funny story. But two, you're really fucking ruining your life. That's
the thing. And like, I think you hit the nail on the head when you just said about that you'll justify in your actions, and in the moments you find an excuse to be doing what you're doing, when really I think it's just a case of your priorities are in the wrong place in terms of you're prioritising the party life and fucking up your health and your financial situation, and you don't tend to think of that because you're high on the moment that you live in and experiencing the life that you didn't think you was going to be able to live.
And you get a bit over the top and you think, I've cracked it. I've cracked the code.
Yeah.
Like I found.
And that's it now.
Yeah. Golden now. Everything I touch turns to gold.
So when did it all start going downhill?
It was going downhill for about 3 years, and I didn't even realise. I had, because I could do 2 or 3 days literally with no sleep. Not like half an hour, just continuous. Everything was a mess. Everything was a mess. Like, it wasn't just my health or finances or the business or this. I'd see my kids every other weekend. Outside of that, and like when I was with kids, absolutely fine. Wasn't really bothered, didn't drink, any of that stuff. As soon as they go back on a Sunday night, but Monday night I'd be out. Because I wouldn't see them for 12 days.
Yeah.
So I would just have this whole life, and it was just this mad roller coaster of, I was mentally deranged.
And you have to just sort of go between two, well, not personalities, but you sort of go in between two different lives.
I have like a switch that goes in my head. That if I had like, I don't know if it's the same now because I don't drink, but I used to have it where I'd have like 4 beers. And it was like the hide button just got flicked.
I think people, and I could tell you that I know a few people who's like that, is that you'll be in the pub with them and after about 2-3 beers, it's like, should we make the call?
Yes,
and it's like, and you're thinking, we plan to come out for a nice bit of food.
My problem is, and this is something, there's 2 main problems I had with my life was, one, that I could do omping, one-man parties. I can go out on my, like I'd fly to Ibiza on my own, didn't give a shit. I would not care. I'd go out on a Tuesday night and know I'll find, just because you'll get on with people. I'll go casino. I can go casino on my own at 9 o'clock at night. I know everyone that works in there because I go there all the time, and I'm playing black 3 hands of blackjack, and I'm playing 2 roulette tables at the same time. And everyone's going mad and not liking it, and I'm like, yeah, it's fine. So then you make friends and then something else happens. So because I could do that, I could go out at any point. So there's no cage. If you needed other people to go out with, that's your buffer.
Yeah.
Right? And I could also function without sleep.
Yeah, because it's like I would say, if I said to my mates, should we go down the pub tomorrow, have a couple of beers and watch football? And they'd be like, oh, no, I'm busy. And then if none of them was going, it's like, oh, I won't go. But then you're saying, when you can do it on your own,
I'd be gone.
Yeah, you don't need that.
I wouldn't even make a call. I wouldn't even call my mates to see if they're going out.
Which is probably a dangerous thing.
Yeah, just go out. Just go out, it'll be fine. Because I used to work in bars and restaurants and stuff like that, you have an affinity and a connection to bar staff, right?
Was it at a point where you used to would you sit there and they were at the bar and you just go, usual?
I used to go to like strip clubs and stuff, and I would go in. I tried to get banned. I'll show you a text message later. I literally DM'd the place a picture of my driving licence and said, you need to ban me. I went back the week after and he's like, it's so funny, you go. And I would just go in and I'd buy bottles and say it was like half hour before closing. Then I'd be like, don't worry Dave, just keep that, we'll put it behind the bar for you tomorrow. So I'd walk in the next night and lean over the bar and I'd be like, yeah, cool, because they had my name on them. Go back and sit back in VIP. Which, when you go with your mates, it feels really cool because it's cool, yeah, I'm this guy.
Yeah.
But actually, that's not good. That's not good.
So what was the point where you had that sense of realisation that, fuck, what am I doing?
I didn't. I never used to have a point where I'd stop. My body would stop. The only time I would stop is when my body gave way and I'd just be asleep for 14 hours. Do you know what it was normally? Because I would eat for like 3 days, just drink and sniff and whatever. And then, so say if I knew that I'm dying, basically. I've got no food, no nutrients, no sleep. So if I wolfed down a couple of slices of pizza on the 3rd day, it would just wipe me off and I'd just go to sleep and I'd be gone for like 14 hours. So because I never had an off, and suddenly where the buildings were crumbling around me, the business was crap, this was crap, my mindset was crap, I had no perspective on anything. I couldn't trust anything I thought. And I just got to the stage, and that was when I remember being in my garage one night and I'd literally just got all these tablets and I remember just fucking gulping them down. I went from everything's cool, nah, it's not cool, nah, it's cool, nah, it's not cool, to I'm just done. And I couldn't see my way out of it. The business was going to be fucked. Going to lose the house, going to lose everything. And I just couldn't cope with that anymore. And I couldn't, and this is the problem with things like suicide. Your radar's so off, you cannot help yourself.
Yeah.
You have no perspective on what's right, who you're hurting. And I think with a lot of this stuff out there, people go, oh, it's a really selfish act. And you're going, yeah, it's a fucking selfish act for you, but you're being selfish thinking about yourself. But imagine being in a state where you genuinely think you are improving the world by you being removed. You're not thinking, oh, poor mum, or poor partner, or poor kids. You're going, their life is better without me here. Yeah. And that's the hard part, is when your vision, when your world is so fucked up, that you genuinely, and it's not like a cry for help, there's a big difference. People out, oh God, I'm having a bad day, I'm just going to end it. And I feel sorry for those people. But there's people out there that are silently struggling. Yeah. And they're literally been for months thinking, genuinely, if I delete myself, this world's going to be improved. And those people, they're so good at fucking masking this stuff. And that's the really hard part about this, is you cannot tell those people because they have masked it in the same way we say about compounding interest and improving themselves 1%. They mask it 1% better every day. So in a year's time, they have become professionals at masking their emotions.
And the thing is, like, the thing that I find as well is that when it happens to some people sit there and go, I did not even know. And it's like what you're saying, they would have built up for so fucking long without giving anyone an inkling as to what they was actually going through, that they would have never even wanted to even talk about it because they didn't need to, because they masked it and sort of put it to the side. Yeah. That when it does get too much and they do it, that people around didn't even expect it.
Do you know the way I look at a lot of this stuff as well? You ever had a car, like the engine blow up on a car? Like people are just driving along, minding their own business and singing along. They've got the tune on the radio, kids are in the back, and they're driving along and everything's great. You're doing 70 mile an hour on a motorway, right? And suddenly the engine just goes and everything just stops. I think that's what happens to people's hope and their will and their desire and their faith and their belief and their way they're succinct around life and their connection. I think it's like one big fuse just blows and it's not over one big moment or anything crazy that happens. And I think some people, it's a lot of little fuses that go, so you can spot that sign. And sometimes, you know, in your house when the master fuse and everything goes off and it was the tumble dryer that shorted it. Yeah. Like, and actually all it was inside that tumble dryer was one sock got stuck. And one sock getting stuck shorted the whole house. I think in a lot of situations, people operate in such a place of discomfort and pain and misery consistently over time that when that one sock gets stuck and they've tried for so long and suddenly that's it, and it's hard. I think it's really hard because to be in that place. I feel for anyone that goes, because it's horrible to be able to be in a room filled with people that love you, and you know they love you, and you know they do. But it's like, imagine if we're in jail and there's that perspex glass, like that disjoint that's how I think, and that's how I felt, and I think a lot of people feel that way. And I feel like over time that glass gets thicker and thicker and thicker, and eventually they just don't even feel like they're part of the world.
Well, it's like when I took my overdose, and and anyone that knows me would know.
I'm really glad to hear
my younger brother, he is my absolute world. He's my best mate, and he's severely autistic, and he needs like full-time care. And when I took my overdose, he was the only one in the house. Never in a million years, like now, would I even contemplate doing anything with him around. So for me, it shows like what you were saying is that I knew that he couldn't help me. He would have been, if I had died there and then, he would have been the one to find me.
Yeah.
He would have been the one to have to live with that and not even be able to function it because of the way that his autism is. My mum, the night before, we had a Chinese takeaway and we was absolutely fine. Everyone was happy. She'd gone to work the next day. She would have had no inkling anything was wrong. And then that morning I'd woken up and I went, I'm going to fucking end it all day. I'm tired, I'm hurt. But I would have never sat there the night before and said to Mum, I'm fucking hurting, Mum. Do you know what I mean? Or anyone in that case. Or I didn't tell any of my mates. Like, it was at that point where I felt my only way of making it easier was to end my life. And I think it shows us what you were saying is that they mask it until they don't need to, but that point of not needing to is the point that they choose to end their life. And sometimes it gets to that point where there's no actually coming back from it. When you're in that black hole.
I think it's horrible. It is. Do you know the problem we've got as well is I respect everyone in this world. Be whoever you want to be. You be you. Like, be you. Be the best version of you. You want to be a pink elephant, be a pink fucking elephant. I genuinely couldn't care. It doesn't, and not as I don't care for you, but I don't care what you do. As long as you're not hurting people, just live your life. You want to dress as a fucking parakeet every day, good luck to you. Be the best parakeet that's ever walked the planet. But I think the problem is everyone tries to box everyone in and tell people how they should feel. Or, you feel this, you should do that. Now, we can give suggestions and we can try and help. Think of it like this. Say I get a tattoo done today and you get a tattoo done. And you go, fucking hell, this hurts. And I go, no, it don't hurt. Who's right?
Yeah.
Now, there could be loads of things here. Your idea of what's painful and my idea might be different. I might have slightly more sensitive skin. You might have slightly more sensitive skin. The guy doing it could be pushing harder. The needle on the end could be slightly blunter. The type of ink could be... There's all these different variables. But what do we turn around and say, what do you mean it hurts? Well, there's a lot of different things that matter.
Put numbing cream on.
But do you see my point? There's so many variables in that, but what we end up doing is put a person go, can't even under a tattoo. Right, but we only got the same metrics.
Yeah.
We don't have the same fucking metrics. And everyone now is trying to go, you need to be this. And I say to my kids all the time, again, apologies for my kids' teachers, I'm not actually that sorry, is like, I'm not trying to become my teacher when I was at school. That's not what I'm trying to be. And it's not because I don't like my teacher, but if you're a geography teacher, you are basing your life, that's your passion.
Yeah.
That's what you love. You are a geography teacher because you love teaching. So your mindset, your spirituality, your beliefs are all based around this shit. Doesn't mean you're a great person.
Yeah.
No, you can be a great person.
Yeah.
But you can be a great geography teacher and a shit dad, for example. Now, if you're a great geography teacher, geography teachers, and you're a shit dad, you are not going to treat my son in the right way. Because you're a shit dad.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So then we go, okay, when people give me advice with stuff, I'm like, but hang on, are you someone I'm trying to become? Do I want your life? And it's not saying I don't. But I have to, and this is the difference now, is a lot of the time that people are giving advice, and I'm not here giving out advice, I'm just explaining my story, is a lot of the time the people that are giving out advice are giving out advice to people, and the people they're giving advice to don't want to become the person that's giving the advice. So then they don't take the advice. Because I don't want to... Imagine if I turn up in pink chinos with green hair, and you're like, I fucking hate the colour green and I hate the colour pink, and I give you advice, go, man, I don't want to be you. And I go, could be the best advice in the world.
Yeah.
But the narrative's not coming from something you relate to. And this is why men's mental health especially is so important. So is women's. But health for everyone is great. Yeah. But it's so important now to find our crowd.
Yeah, and I think as well is that, and it's completely right in what you're saying, and I think different things work for different people.
Yes.
Like mental health is a word, but there is so many branches that come off of that. There's like bereavement, drug, gambling, drink, all sorts of shit. And what might work for you might not work for someone else. Someone might say this therapist was the best therapist I've ever had. Someone might go to them and think, I fucking hated that.
Yes.
And I think it's difficult to sit there and tell people what they should do to help with their mental health.
Do you know what you need to do? Just keep trying shit.
Yeah.
And I literally think that's it.
I did after mine, like, within the last year and a half, I just suddenly turned around and I was like I wasn't fit, and I turned around and I went, fuck it, I'm gonna go out running. It was alright. I was fucking aching and I weren't fit, so it wasn't the best thing, but I tried it. And then I ended up doing this Goggins run, which was 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours. So I was hardly sleeping, hardly eating, but I put myself through stuff that I would go, you know what, I tried that.
Yes.
If I felt that was the right remedy for me, I would carry on running and doing other events. I started reading. Like now I read before I go to bed. Journaling, I'm always journaling, so I write my things in the morning and night. I try to spend less time on social media. Sometimes that don't really happen. But I found the biggest thing was being around the right people that's good for my mental health. That was probably the biggest thing that helped me the most.
100%.
Was surrounding myself with people that was good for me.
Yeah.
Look, I've got pals out of my pals, and the ones that I used to go and party with, and some of them, they'll still be my pals. But because that wasn't my interest anymore, you don't surround yourself with them. And then I surround myself with people like George and Tom, and it's like you surround yourself with them and they make you better people.
Yeah.
And they give you the right things to do for you to become the best version of yourself.
And they pull you up on shit when you're slipping and all the other stuff. Like we've come from a generation. And listen, I love a bit of banter. I do. And I'm a piss-taking prick. I really am. But again, there's times and boundaries for a lot of stuff that's out there. And I think with a lot of the world that we live in now, we live in a life that we didn't design. No one sat me down on my 16th birthday and went, right, go out and work out where you want to be. Like you see people go, okay, from 16 to 18, just go wild. And then 18 to this. Now, do I want someone to schedule a plan? No. But a lot of us don't even start with a plan. So because we don't have a plan, we don't have a goal. If we don't have a goal, we don't have an outcome. If we don't have an outcome, we can't break down the steps. If we don't break down the steps, we don't know what obstacles are going to come. If you don't know what obstacles are going to come, how do you know it's not part of the fucking journey?
Yeah, spot on.
Right?
Yeah.
So think of it like the running thing. If we go, I want to run. Have you run before? Not really. Okay. Are you fit? No. Do you used to do drugs? Yes. Do you used to smoke? Yes. Do you drink a lot? Yes. Do you have a shit mindset? Yes. Okay. Just to let you know, running for the first 3 months might be fucking awful. But you've got to expect to ache. You've got to expect to feel like shit. You've got to expect to be demotivated. You've got to expect to have old ladies run past you. You've got to expect to feel like you're going to vomit, right?
But then you know that it's coming, so you can prepare
yourself. So when that happens, instead of going, this isn't for me, we go, this is part of the plan. What do people really do? I'm going to start running. Right, what I need to do is get those new night shoes and I need to get a vest. I'm going to get one of those vest tops, you know, I've a weighted one. I'm going to get one of them and I'm going to get a fucking bandana. I'm going to get the air. But don't plan anything to do with a run. Yeah. They want to look like a runner.
Okay. Yeah, I've got you.
Right? We don't plan for how shit can it get? And what am I going to do when it's shit? Right? People talk about sailors, right? Great sailors are not made in calm seas. They're made in fucking storms. Mm-hmm. Storms make them. And that's the whole thing with us. And this is the whole thing where we are now, is the storms that we've been through, we've weathered them. So now we have a perspective on a calm day. When you see a sailor on his boat and it's a calm day and he's just chilling and he's lay there and it's real calm and he's using his foot to steer it and you're like, fucking hell. But we don't know that guy's just crossed the Atlantic in 19-foot fucking thing where the hull snapped He nearly drowned, fell off a boat, got hit by a boom. We don't know where he's been. Like for him, that's easy. But imagine if you've never sailed before and that was now your perspective of sailing. That's not the perspective of sailing.
No.
The perspective of sailing is very fucking different. The problem is we're watching everyone with their foot on the steering wheel going, that's sailing. Yeah, I'll do that. That's not sailing. That's a 1% time of sailing. And so when we don't get that and suddenly there's a storm or a wind or something breaks, we freak out and go, hang on, but this wasn't what I signed up for. No, you signed up for a calm day. Yeah. With your foot on the fucking steering wheel, with a pina colada in your hand. That's what you signed up for. What you didn't sign up for was sailing. You signed up for fair weather sailing where everything's already done.
And I think, do you know what? Everything you've just said is spot on. And all I can't help but think about is if only you knew that back before you was in your garage, because you had not planned for that life.
Yeah.
You had not known what obstacles were going to come. You didn't know what steps were going to come. And like you say, you was unprepared for the obstacles. So then when they came, you had no alternative or any mechanisms to deal with them obstacles. So now, what did you do when you was in that garage? You took the pills, and then you felt fucking rock bottom.
Yeah.
What did you do to get yourself? So like now, like people would have watched this, and if they didn't know about the party and stuff, and I just sat with you talking about now.
Yeah.
No one would think he hit rock bottom before. So what did you do to get yourself from that party lifestyle where you was rock bottom, fucking come downs, hangovers, to then go, right, if I want to get myself back to being in a happy place, what did you do? What mechanism?
I done loads of shit. So I went to AA meetings, didn't fucking help. I went and partied after. Like literally went to AA meetings, stood up and told them my story and went out and partied. That's not a fit for me. Like, because I went there and I appreciate everyone goes to AA meeting and I was like, oh no, I'm all right. Definitely wasn't. I fucking needed the help, but it wasn't the right fit for me. So I tried loads of stuff, but I lost everything. So I had to go back to basics. I had nothing at all, not a single thing to my name. I had no single thing. And so what I did realise was this. The problem with personal development and self-development is you're developing yourself.
Yeah.
Right? So he's not developing me, you're not. Self-development is me developing me. Here's the problem. If I'm fucked up, I'm my own teacher. Imagine being a shit driver, but you're going to teach yourself to drive. That's not going to help because you're already shit. So I had to acknowledge that, and then I went, okay, I need to commit to, like we just said about all the stuff there, I'm not going to enjoy this. It's going to be shit. It's going to be horrible. I'm going to have a really shit 6 months, at least. I have a really terrible radar, but whatever I want to do is probably the wrong thing for me.
Yeah.
So if I want to go to bed, I probably should stay up and work. If I want to stay up and work, I probably have to go to bed. If I want to lock myself away and shut the curtains, I probably need to get outside. If I want to go out and see my mates, I probably should lock the doors. And whatever I wanted to do, I had to go, this isn't my plan. My radar is so off, I can't trust myself.
It's like your head telling you to go, Roy.
Yeah.
Fuck, we go
Mate, yeah, it's definitely down there. Fucking go that way. Do you know what else I had to do? I had to tell my kids. I had to tell them, right, the holidays are gone. The house is going. Like, we're going to have a really shit few years. And you're young, you're not going to get this now, but I want you to know that there's, whatever goes on right now, this isn't on you two. Like, if there's shit, or we not buy you the stuff, or we're not going on holidays, or there's this, or you hear no more. I don't want you to hear the no's as they're no's because of you. They're no's because I've made mistakes, but I want you to realise something. That this is as bad as it gets. And I want you to realise that I'm going to make this as a fucking example to you two. I didn't say fucking to by the way at the time. I do swear around them now, but I don't care. They're older, so just deal with it. I said, I want this to be an example to him. Like, Lib remembers this, my daughter, that whatever comes your way, you can get over it. And I want to be an example to you, not just how easy life is, but actually whatever comes our way, one, you need to be prepared. So you don't wait to swim. You don't wait to fall off the boat to learn to swim, right? You learn to swim so when you fall off the fucking boat, you can swim, right? Yeah. So now I'm going to show you that I can bring this back. I'm going to make our life bigger, brighter, better. I'm going to build foundations that last, not just for your life, but for generations to come. And I'm going to make sure that you guys remember this stuff.
Yeah.
Because if we're going to go through all this pain, I want to make sure we've got lessons at the end. And Liv brought this up about a year or so ago. And so, do you remember talking to us about it? I went, do you remember that? She went, yeah. She goes, Tate doesn't. She goes, but I do. And I was like, thank fuck she remembers it. Because you know what? Now, the struggle doesn't matter. Now, the pain doesn't matter. Now, those nights where I would sit and have fucking pasta for dinner and make sure the kids have got food, or I'm freaking out that the bills aren't paid, or we're late on the rent, or there's this going to happen, or the car's going to go. None of that matters now because we've got through it. Yeah. Like if you fail your driving license, right? Imagine you have to do your driving test and you've got to do it 168 times. All the way through, that's horrific. Until the 168th time. And the second you've got that fucking driving license, no one gives a shit that it took you 168 times. But if you stop at 165, you're fucked.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the problem. As soon as we complete it, as soon as we pass it, as soon as the pain goes, the lessons are there. And so that's worthwhile.
Because more mental.
That was a proper rant then, wasn't it?
That was good. Yeah, that's all right. But more mental. It's right what you're saying though. More mental health journey took probably about 2 years, 2.5 years, and I think it's like you're saying. It was fucking shit, and I used to have I'd be high, and if I feel like I'm getting there, and then I'd go rock bottom again, and then it'd be up, down, up, down. I used to think, fucking out, what have I got to do to get to the point where I'm content and I'm happy with what I have? And it wasn't until probably back into last year, maybe even part of this year, that
Can you open that door for me? Is that right? It's hot. Sorry.
He's hot. That's all right.
My little rant got the temperature.
But I used to then, and then I got to a point where I was just content. But it's only because of the lessons I learned that when I was getting, when I was falling rock bottom again during that time, I used to think, right, fucking switch off, read your book, get out for a walk, do something. So then when it happened the next time, I used to just instinctively just do it. And then now, where I'm in such a good place, I do them subconsciously.
Yes.
To maintain that.
Yes.
So I guess the next question is, what would be your advice? Because I've got a feeling I know what you're going to say to this. Is because I fucking loved it when you said about it at the event. What would be your advice to someone who doesn't know where to go or what to do? Now I'll give you a hint as to
Just do one.
Just do one.
Just do one. Which sounds fucking rude until you calm it down. So instead of just do one, just do one. Just do one thing. We set a lot of pressure and big expectations on ourselves, and that's cool. But do you know the big problem is, if you're in a shit place, your discipline's shit. Right? You're actually looking for reasons out. So just do one. Like right now, say that I am weak as fuck. I could just decide to arm curl this iPad. Now this is stupid, right? But what am I doing? I'm doing one thing. Now if I just decide to get down and do one press up now, and I'm in a room of people, the likelihood I do one press up is pretty slim. But imagine if I committed every day just to do one press up. To make one phone call. To send one text message, to say one nice thing about yourself, to smile at someone once. Do you know what the things I do now? I go for walks with half the time when my boys on me. I'll go for a walk at 5 a.m. I make sure I say good morning to at least one person. Do you know I say a good morning to, I reckon, about 15 people. To the extent I was out with a lady today, we were on a walk, and she went, you're funny. I went, what? She would just say hello to random people. I went, it's such I don't even notice I'm doing it. And I say it really loud. I'm like, morning, have a good day. And do you know how many people go, oh, good morning? And they look at you like it's shocked them.
Yeah.
Imagine the power we have in our fucking soul. I know I'm going off on a tangent. The power that we have for us saying good morning to someone, to a complete stranger, with sincerity and a smile, that might stay with them, or they might not have spoke to someone for a day. They might be having the worst, they might be about to go for and do something fucking shit. And you give them that, morning, have a good day, won't you? Or morning, light your hat. Morning, no shoes are cool.
I thought you was about to say morning, I was about to say, don't take the piss.
But whatever it's going to be, right? I love your tattoo, right? Those glasses really suit you. Mate, that fucking tat, but do you know the orange on that fucking stands out so well? Orange all day, right? Now, if he ever sees me and I bring up that tattoo again, it's a talking point. You think I mention orange because orange is my fucking colour? He's like, we're more aligned now because he's got an orange tattoo. Automatically, he is more aligned in my life. And I've told him that now. I'm
just going to confirm, Dave isn't that just pointing into thin air, making someone like, it's Jack our Magic Man bit on the camera.
He's got orange on his t-shirt and orange on his leg. Right? So imagine Matt. Imagine he's having a shit day. And I'm like, fucking, mate, I love that tattoo. Orange is my colour. And I show him my strap. And he's like, fuck, that guy, genuinely, he could take that off and that could boost him up for a day. But that comes from just doing one.
Yeah.
And just doing one has such a power behind it because it's hard to do. Everyone says, just eat an apple a day. And it's such a knobby thing to say, but it's so true. I dare people now to go and eat an apple every day. I manage about 4 days. And I'll forget for a week I haven't done it. But actually, wherever you are right now, I posted about this today, there is something that we can do. And on my power, I think with everyone that's out there, and I've literally posted this today, when we went into lockdown, everyone was like, oh, we couldn't go out, and I can't stay in on a Friday night, you know what I mean? I'm one of them people. Oh, mate, I'm a night owl, I can't get up at 5 in the morning. They saw this shit. Lockdown, government, boom, no one's allowed out of the house. Okay. Pubs are shut, okay. No one was breaking into pubs going, mate, I have to go out, it's a Friday.
Well, look at the amount of people like, during lockdown that say, most of them people, the ones that like to go out partying and stuff, they probably never used to go out for a morning run.
Exactly.
The amount of people that I used to see going out for their runs in the morning.
And all this stuff comes from someone taking a responsibility from us, right? And here's the thing with all of this stuff, it's not a case that we cannot do it. We choose, and like, I'm cool. If you say to me, mate, I'm a lazy prick, I don't want to go out, I want to be fat, I want to eat chocolate, I don't give a fuck. Like, that's all on you. But don't say you can't eat healthy. Don't say you can't go to the gym. Don't take the power. Have it as a choice. Mate, I'm choosing to be a fucking slob. Sweet. Work on that later. But don't tell me that you can't.
Yeah.
Right? Don't tell me that, I can't, I just can't do it. Fuck off. You can. And change the language to make sure, Dave, I'm choosing not to.
Or you can, but you won't.
I don't want to. If someone turns around and goes, I don't want to. Sweet. I don't want to eat healthy. I don't want to get fit. I don't want to do that. I don't want to go for a run. I don't want to read a book. Doesn't mean you can't read a book. Do one. Pick up one book. Read one page. Read one line. Read one fucking word. Read one word a day for the next 2 months. Imagine if you come back to me and went, yeah, mate, I read one word. I did what you said. I read one word every day. Yeah, no, it's still shit. Did you really? What do we all think would happen would be? If you wrote one word every day, you would have probably read at least a page. If you did it every day. You'd have at least read a paragraph every day.
And then by the time you got to the, I guarantee if you've done that, for example, we're talking about reading one word, guarantee by the time you got to level 2, you'd probably start thinking, what if I read 2 words today?
Or, do you know what you might have done? Gone, I fucking hate books. And you've done it as a formed habit where you now have proof that you don't like books.
Yeah.
So you go, right, Dave, or whoever, I've read books for the last 8 weeks. I don't like it. What should I do now? Okay, now we've got data that you don't like reading books. What can we do? Go and listen to go and listen to 1 minute of an audio book every day. Who do you like? Who's your celebrity? Like for me, I once got drunk with Robbie Williams' dad. Right?
Nice.
Yeah, great. Really funny story. Take that off there. So I got drunk. I like Robbie. I think Robbie Williams is great. I genuinely do. And there's other people out there that I really like. Imagine if Robbie Williams could be my mate. If I like Robbie Williams and I'd like to be his mate, do you know what I could do? Listen to his audiobooks. Right? On a walk. That's like you going for a walk with them. If Robbie Williams told me, Dave, do you want to go for a walk today? I'm like, yeah, 100%, you're cool, I like you. So I get to go for a walk with my mate. I do it with the Diary CEO, I like Stephen Bartlett.
I love it.
Right, so if I go for a walk every day, if Stephen Bartlett would phone me up now and went, hey Dave, got an idea. I'm going to fly a helicopter to your house 3 days a week and we're going to go for a walk for an hour, you up for it? 100% I'm taking that. That's a fucking audio book.
Yeah.
And do you know what I'm going to do today? I'm going to bring with me Lenny Henry, or I'm going to bring with me whoever it's going to be, Joe Pasquale, whoever it's going to be, all his guests. That's a fucking audiobook. You're getting to go for a walk with whoever you want in the world. Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan's going for a walk with an MMA fighter talking about it. Do you want to come for the walk? Yes! That's a fucking audio. That's all it is. Do you want to come and sit? Joe Rogan's literally saying to me, this is why I look at it. Joe Rogan says, Dave, do you want to come and sit in my studio while I have a one-to-one chat with Elon Musk for the next 3 hours? Yeah. Fucking hell. What, are you going to smoke weed as well? I don't want to smoke the weed, but I want to listen. Right? That's what an audiobook is. So I'm literally going in and listening to anyone on the planet that I like, who has achieved anything that I like, with the mindset of people I like, with the ability that I like, and I get to do it from this fucking thing that most people are playing Candy Crush on.
So, just do one. Just do one. But Dave, so we get to the end of it. So you,
I'll stay all day. I'm all right.
You're like now, like you still do sales now, don't you?
Yes.
Sales Angel is actually
David the Sales Angel. You can follow me on everywhere.
Yeah. So we're going to put all of his links in social media. And I'll guarantee you go on social media, he's just as fucking nuts as he's just been for this past hour. Yeah, but Dave, I fucking love you, and I don't think I've even known you a year. But like I said at the start, that night gave me the fuel to become the person I am, and it's nice to be able to sit here and have this hour of fucking just letting rip and just being ourselves. And now, like, it comes to the end, I'm buzzing, like, I'm happy, and that's your energy, and that's what. And the good thing is, you do not need fucking drink, drugs, the party lifestyle to be high on life and fucking have that energy, because giving that energy to someone else has that effect. So if you can lend someone a smile today, if you go out and you go and give one person a smile, you say good morning, like Dave said, guarantee that effect you'll have, you might just be doing it to someone that needs it. So, mate, thank you so much.
Thank you, mate. Thank you.